I understand I did change. My priorities changed, my clothing changed, and actually Salah, when it was a few months later after I took Shahada, asked me to marry him, so then I knew my life would change even more. But there was still two of my friends that stayed with me. That one of my friends, her name was Faye. We could talk about anything. And she always told me, she said, Julie, no matter what you do, I know you are still the same person. So she said, we can be friends as long as you want to be friends. And so she was very committed to me. And so even after I was married, she was married, we had both children, we would get our children together and play together and everything. And so she was very committed to me. I think the one thing that changed in me the most after I became Muslim, and it didn't happen right away, because I was always the kind of person that when I walked into a room, I didn't like people looking at me right away. I was always a very kind of shy person. So in the very beginning, when I first started dressing differently, I knew that that would be something difficult for me. But then after a while, I came to understand the reasoning behind wearing hijab, the reason behind praying 5 times a day, and it just gave me so much peace that I felt like I was doing something good and important. And now especially, I think I have more of a feeling that I'm doing something important because I work in an elementary school. I'm working around Muslims and non-Muslims.
You know, so your mom's left teacher.
So because I was starting to adjust and my scarves would get bigger, and so I started out with just a small scarf and tied behind, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I brought them down in front. So my workers, my co-workers were actually adjusting to me as I was adjusting.
She started wearing it. I remember it was in a simple way in the beginning, and then after that she got the courage more, and it was a full scarf afterward.
People have stopped me even walking on the street. I've been in my car in parking lots. People have approached me in grocery stores, in shopping centers. So I feel like it's important for me, especially as an American Muslim, to be seen wearing the scarf, and also for even the teachers in my school. I go into the classes and I talk about Ramadan, and if there's a teacher that has maybe a conference with a Muslim family, teachers have approached me and said, should I offer to shake hands? Should I look at the woman? Should I look at the man? What should I do?
I think that her wearing the veil actually is a very positive thing. Especially for the Somali students, but I think all the students, because they get to see that we all have differences and yet we're all the same. You know, she's an English-speaking woman just like I am, and she's a teacher and she teaches, and that wearing the veil and being Muslim doesn't affect her everyday job here at Oakwood Elementary School. It's been really kind of a wonderful thing for our Somali girls to see another adult, to see an adult beside their parents in, you know, their moms in the hijab. And they're very interesting, some of the things they say. They actually would go up to her and say, oh, you're Somali. And she'd have to explain, no, I'm Muslim, I'm not Somali. And so it's actually opened up some good conversations with my students.
I like this one. And this one is here we go. Okay. Definitions.
I do teach in a school and I work with EL students, but I also do part-time real estate with my husband. We own our own company. I really consider us to be good partners because we talk a lot, we communicate, we work together. We are stronger together than we are apart. I know I have been approached by some people that have said, who makes you wear this scarf? Who makes you wear this material? Some people even call it a towel. But I keep on reminding them that if my husband forced me to do this, he would have to be following me around all the time. I am out doing my jobs, sometimes with my husband or sometimes without my husband. He doesn't have to do it because I am choosing to wear hijab. And I feel I'm very proud of wearing hijab.
Yeah, definitely here I cannot, you cannot push anybody to do something they don't like to do. You know, it's kind of really sad and tragic to say that, but you really learn how to understand and appreciate Islam when you are in the West, because most of the behavior here, a lot of American people, they are exactly what Islam is looking for. You know, we see people are much more responsible. Unfortunately, you go to a Muslim country and you see the other side of the story, you see chaos. It is a challenge for people to stand in line, to take turns. I mean, also people are much more culture friendly, more kind. You see, I see co-workers greeting you with a smile and good morning, and those things that Islam loves and encourages. Want the Muslim to be this way.
The reason that I think people, the belief that some Americans have about Islam has been distorted because of 9/11. I think before 9/11 it was mostly just kind of ignorance, frankly. I don't think a lot of people paid too much attention, especially in Minnesota. Minnesota is very, you know, kind of Lutheran, Caucasian. We didn't have a large or very ethnically diverse population. I moved to Minnesota in 1980. And even the African American community was pretty small then. So I think most of it was just they didn't know.
I feel sometimes I'm treated a little bit different because, of course, some of the teachers, like right now, we have the end of the school year. So they're talking about the end of the school party. So they're going to go out on a boat, go out on a lake, and then they're going to be drinking and having food and things like that. Well, of course, everyone knows I don't drink, so they don't even, they know I'm not even going to go. But most of the time, I feel they treat me pretty normal.
كيث أليسون هو عضو في الكونغرس الأمريكي ويعود الفضل إليه في قبول المسلمين في مينسوتا.
I think that having a Muslim congressman is a wonderful thing, especially for a state that doesn't have a lot of Muslims. Yes. And I think that he has brought a lot of understanding for people, especially in the Minneapolis area, the cities, the major urban areas. And I think he's allowed people to see a face of an American person who is Muslim and know that he is advocating for all of us. First of all, just even talking about being Muslim and being a practicing Muslim, I think allowed people to understand more about Islam and how, what your practices are on a daily basis. I also know he took a trip overseas also, and he talked about it in the paper. They interviewed him when he went for the Hajj, and that was very, I thought it was a very wonderful article that they did in the paper because it allowed us to see from a personal perspective what it was like to do the Hajj. And I know Julie also has gone and has shared with me what a wonderful experience that was for her.
Most of the time, I try and and tell them about Ramadan. And at the end of Ramadan for Eid, I always bring in a big tray of baklava that I make at my house. So I'm trying to show them that this is, even though 30 days I haven't been eating during the daytime, but now it's our festivities. So now they ask me about it. When is Ramadan going to be done? So now they ask me a lot more things about that.
Readiness. This is a life lesson. Honestly.
And whenever I have evaluations, my evaluations are always very, very good. My principal is always talks so nicely, and on my evaluations he tells me, you know, you're very open, you're very flexible in your time, you help people out, you respond quickly, you're kind to students. Sometimes I feel like I can use my religion in this school to my benefit. I want these children to grow up, and then when they leave, they'll say, when they hear something about Muslims, they'll say, but Mrs. Roddy, she wore the scarf and she wasn't like that. So I'm hoping they will carry some of the memories away with them.
هنالك الكثير من الشائعات حول المسلمين، وتحدثنا جولي عما إذا كانت حياتها المهنية قد تأثرت لكونها مسلمة، وكذلك عن كيفية تعامل الناس معها.
I was at home with my children until my youngest one got into first grade. But the first time that I went out to apply for a job, of course my legal name is Julie Roddy. So I apply for a job, they see my application, but they don't see me. So when I first walked in for an interview, all of a sudden I just felt like everyone just kind of sat back in their chair or something. They were a little bit surprised. And I applied with a school in Minneapolis Public Schools. I don't know if wearing a scarf made a difference. He seemed to be open about it, and I met with the teacher, and she seemed to be very open about it, but I'm never quite sure, and I hate to assume. If people are prejudiced and they feel uncomfortable, it's fine. I walk away, they go their way, they find another person, but as long as they feel comfortable, and I try to put them at ease as well as my husband. We have been referred to some people before that, you know, generally they get used to us, but if they don't, it's fine. You know, there are other realtors.
I had a good impression, a good first impression, not only as a realtor, but as a Muslim woman. She presented herself very professional, very respectful.
تشعر جولي بالسعادة الغامرة لما آلت إليه حياتها بعد اعتناقها الإسلام.
I feel truly blessed to be a Muslim. I think part of it is I've been Muslim for just about 30 years, but I think also with age, as I've gotten older and I feel more comfortable doing the things that I do, because I feel like it's allowed me to really prioritize, and the job that I have allows me to be very busy with my family, and even though both of my sons are married now and I'm a grandmother, I'm still very busy in their lives, and they're busy in my lives, and we enjoy the time that we spend together. So it's honestly, alhamdulillah, we're healthy, we're all together, it couldn't be better.
ما شاء الله فيها والزواج